Hello YouTube and welcome back to my channel. Chris the Frugal Audiophile with you. Today I want to do a mini review of the Anker SoundCore Motion Boom Plus. I don't know why it needs 14 words in its name, but there you have it. I'm just going to call it the Boom Plus. That will distinguish it from the regular Motion Boom. If you like this kind of content, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that bell notification. And what this is going to be is another mini review. So I'm going to try to keep it brief, but you know how hard that is for me. But I'm going to do my best to keep it short here. To begin, let's look at its design and specs. So you see on the screen here, just a few design features for the Boom Plus. So what you're going to have here is a 15.5 inch long by 5.5 inch deep by about 7.5 inches high speaker. So this is not like the tiniest of Bluetooth speakers, and it weighs almost 5.5 pounds. So this has a little more weight to it than like my JBL Flip 4. Of course, you're going to have a black housing on this one with some silicone feet, as well as a silicone covered connections panel here. You've got your charge in and out. This can charge another device like a phone, and then an aux input. Then you turn it back around to the front here. You see the buttons up here, and we will go ahead and power that on. So these are also silicone buttons, and this is going to connect to my phone. Hopefully it doesn't mess up my recording. More on why those are covered in silicone as we go on here. And then on the side, you're going to have basically some 3.5 inch bass radiators. I tried to find a measurement for them, but could not. There's a carrying strap included with this one, and the cost on the Motion Boom Plus is basically $180, but I got mine on sale for $125. Next is look at some specs. You're going to have 80 watts of output power, which is pushed through two 3-inch 30-watt woofers and then two 3/4 inch 10-watt tweeters. Those measurements were also difficult to find, but I just measured them myself. I was not able to find any frequency response measurements on the internet, and so I basically used my ears to determine that I could hear bass down to about 55 hertz, and then the treble went up to 40 kilohertz. That's actually the specification that Anker gives for this device. So we know it goes that high. I'm not really sure if that's true or if that's even helpful, but that's what they say. And then, of course, the bass radiators help also with bass reproduction on this one. You have Bluetooth version 5.3, which is one of the latest versions. Two cool little extra features in this one are PartyCast 2.0 and True Wireless Stereo. Basically what that means is that you can connect multiple Motion Boom Plus speakers to one another, and you can either have them both be a stereo source themselves, or one can be left and one can be right, depending on if you use PartyCast or if you use the stereo mode. Next we have an IPX rating of 6.7, which means that it is dust and waterproof. Now I don't think that you want to use this thing on your next deep sea dive, but if it falls into the pool, or if you get it covered in some dust, maybe you live in a really dusty area, it's going to be okay. If it gets dropped in the pool, you're not going to have to frantic and buy a new one. It's going to be okay, but I would still be careful with it and not keep it submerged for a prolonged period of time. So they are giving this a 20-hour battery rating for playtime. And then you see there also, because it is a 13,400 milliamp hour battery, which is a nice size battery and accounts for a lot of the weight in this unit. I was never able to drain this device after using it for a very long time. I had it running for an entire day just playing white noise through it, and after 12 hours it still had a good amount of battery power left in it. So that's pretty much all the specs I want to go over. You can see the rest on the screen there before you. For this mini review, I'm not going to go through the assignment, what it gets right, what it gets wrong. Maybe we'll give it a grade at the end, we'll see. But I just want to share with you some of my thoughts on this speaker. First of all, I really like the Motion Boom Plus here. It sounds good, has some great features, looks nice. It seems like it is built well and would withstand some pretty rough use. Now that's not to say that it's bomb-proof, but it seems pretty sturdy and strong and has a good IPX rating, which I think is great. And that's going to kind of come into my recommendations. My next thought is this: although it does sound good for a Bluetooth speaker, it's not going to replace your home hi-fi system. This is not going to replace separate amps, separate speakers, and a separate subwoofer. It's going to do a good job, but it's not going to sound as good as those. And it's going to have its limitations, being that it's an all-in-one solution. One thing I do notice about the Boom Plus is that it gets really loud. I was 10 feet away from the speaker, and it was cranked almost all the way up, and I was getting around 90 decibels of audio coming through the speaker, which I thought was quite impressive at that distance. So another thought I had is that Bluetooth always sounds grainy to me. No matter the quality of the amplifier or the speakers or the Bluetooth version, it always just sounds a little bit grainy to me. And that was definitely true with this speaker here. But I do think that speakers like the Motion Boom Plus here do have their applications. We're going to talk about that just a little bit more in the next section. But if I was to give the speaker overall grade, I am going to give it a very solid B+. It has a lot going for it. It sounds pretty good for a Bluetooth speaker. The IPX6-7 rating and the fact that you can pair multiples together, it just makes it a very useful speaker that definitely has its applications. So let's talk about that next as we look at my recommendations. First of all, I think this is a great outdoor speaker with its IPX6-7 rating, its loud volume, and the fact that you can pair multiples together. This would make a great speaker for a pool party. I think that's kind of where Anker has positioned it in the market. Not that you couldn't use it in other places, but that's a great use for this speaker. It'll get louder than I think most people are going to want at their pool party, unless you are just looking to throw the ultimate rave. Otherwise, if you want some nice background music and even jam out just a little bit, this speaker would be perfect for that. I'd say pair two of them together, call it a day, and I wouldn't even mess with wiring in outdoor speakers. With the Motion Boom Plus, there would be no need for those. Also, I think this would be great for a medium to large size bedroom where you don't want to mess with putting together a hi-fi system. You know, give it to your teenager, set it on their dresser, have them connect their phone, and they would be rocking out and just having all kinds of fun. To me, it's kind of like a boombox replacement. Back when I was a kid, I had a Sony CD boombox. It was in my bedroom most of the time, and I loved using that thing and jamming out to it. Well, today, with the onset of digital music, you don't need, the CD and radio and the tape, all those in it. Just give your kid one of these Bluetooth speakers. It's almost indestructible, sounds good, and they can connect their phone, which I'm sure will be appealing to them. And that's an excellent use case for the speaker. But finally, as I was saying before, don't expect it to replace your hi-fi system. That is not the intended purpose for this speaker, nor can it really do well in that role. I mean, it plays music, and it plays it loud and clear, but it's just not going to have the same dynamic range. It's not going to have amazing stereo separation, which is going to lead to subpar imaging. All these things are issues with these type of all-in-one speakers, and don't make them a hi-fi replacement, but make them great in other cases. Now, maybe if you had two of them, that would be better. That could be done, but they're kind of big and ugly just to put two of these in your living room. I'm sure people have done it, and more power to you. I think for the aspiring audiophile, they would rather have separate speakers, separate sub, that type of thing, and use this outside or when they go to the beach. So there's just some of my thoughts and recommendations for the SoundCore Motion Boom Plus. It really is a great Bluetooth speaker. Especially at $125, I cannot recommend it more. So do you own the Motion Boom Plus? What do you think of it? Do you agree that Bluetooth can sound a bit grainy? That's just my finding with most of these speakers. Well, I thank you so much for watching this video. If you'd like to support my channel and my work here, be sure to check out Patreon and buy me a cup of coffee. And remember, frugal doesn't necessarily mean cheap.